Hello, I'm Shannon O'Brien. I'm a behavioral health provider here at One Community Health, and today I'm going to talk about some ways to cope with stimulation overload or too much information. I don't know about you, but it feels like we are filled with information from all different angles all the time. I think the first part about this is to understand that we were never, as humans, meant to have all of that stimulation happening or coming at us all the time. So it really does require us, one, noticing the impact of all of that information on our nervous system, and that we do have a decision or a choice to change the amount of information that we have to take in every day. Some of us find that easier, some of us find it harder to do, and so these are just some general recommendations without the specifics identified for you as the unique experience you are having. If you do want to explore the unique experience and how it relates to you personally, talk to a therapist further about that. But some general recommendations are, one, setting some limits or boundaries on how much information you consume in a day. So that could look like either setting a limit on your phone or just setting a timer. For 15 minutes, I'm only going to look at this political topic, read an article about it, and then when the 15-minute timer goes off, I'm going to close that and I'm going to do a grounding exercise to remind myself of what I can control and what I can't control with the information I just received. The other piece that could be helpful is to limit and prioritize the sources of information that you are looking at. So sometimes we collaborate with our community and we might source from our community of how do you get your information? And that might be a helpful way for one, to be able to discuss the information together. If one of your friends is looking at a source and then you look at a different source, then you can kind of compare the information and make sure that we don't get pigeonholed into the information is right or the information is wrong. It's more just something for us to consider. It's something for us to learn from or discuss and then kind of see, where do I fall in that information that I just reviewed? What do I think about it? Rather than always taking information that we view as fact or it being the only way to think about the topic. A lot of these topics that we're reading about or we're receiving information don't have one way to approach it. So just keeping yourself open to the possibility of thinking about it in many different ways. The other way that you can support yourself with overwhelm of information is to bolster up some of your self-care. So sometimes when we're looking for a lot of information, it can be an indicator that we are wanting to avoid something, we're trying to distract from something that we don't want to think about. And sometimes that is a really helpful resource, doing that for distraction. And other times we notice that we're doing too much of it. So it's really about a balance and awareness, and that's where the mindfulness comes in. So in summary, some of the ways to decrease the amount of overstimulation you might feel with all the information sources is to limit your amount of time looking at information, to set some boundaries, specifically about maybe looking for only 15 minutes or a certain amount of time. Doing some cross-reference checking with having some of your peers together to review some of the information you're consuming. Checking in and being mindful about how the information influences your body, your breath, your mind, how you feel after, and recalibrating. And seeking support when you need it. Sometimes we find that we do need some support with being able to reduce our amount of information that we're seeking, and there might be other reasons that we could explore with a therapist for why we're doing that. I hope this was helpful for you. A reminder that this isn't an exhaustive list, and there are many other ways that you might explore with a therapist individually for your unique needs to help with over information consumption.